Now, the committee is investigating how and to what extent you and the executive branch, the FBI and others, coerced or colluded with companies and other intermediaries to censor lawful speech during the election, despite internal concerns about whether the allegations were foreign sourced at all. They censored the story without even doing their due diligence. They just listened to the FBI. Tulsi, for over 2 decades, has fought for our country and the freedoms of all Americans. As a former candidate for the Democratic presidential nomination, can you believe that she ran as a Democrat? It's wild. The FBI did it again, interfering and spying on you during the election. This is according to the House Judiciary Committee. Jim Jordan and others sending this letter to the Honorable Christopher Wray at the FBI, who is now preparing to be fired after his disastrous performance, wrecking the credibility of the entire agency. He also, apparently, according to Congress, was doing some bad things this election season. Coming from Jim Jordan, chairman out of Ohio, writing from the Committee on the Judiciary, November 12th, to the FBI, the Honorable Christopher Wray, saying, all right, Chris, listen. Now, the committee is investigating how and to what extent you and the executive branch, the FBI and others, coerced or colluded with companies and other intermediaries to censor lawful speech during the election. Now, as part of this oversight, we have received testimony that under your leadership, Chris, the FBI, particularly its Foreign Influence Task Force called FITF, played a key role in pre-bunking a true election story ahead of 2020. That's the Hunter Biden story. Okay, we got that. We know they did that. But now, we have also learned that the FITF, Foreign Influence Task Force, continues to coordinate efforts with social media companies leading up to the 2024 election to monitor and flag social media posts. And we knew they were doing this because the Supreme Court allowed them to do it. They delayed the case that was brought in Missouri until after the election, I believe is the status of that. So they could continue to do this throughout this election. So now they say, oh, we found it. You did it. By both American citizens and by foreign actors, indicative of what they say is potential criminal conduct. And so just the judiciary says, accordingly, Chris, we write to request information about the FBI's use of software tools to monitor American social media posts. Here we go. In a transcribed interview just a few weeks ago in October, an FBI Criminal Investigative Division analyst previously assigned to the FITF task force disclosed that FITF uses, quote, software tools where the FBI can search open source databases about content indicative of criminal conduct. According to this analyst's testimony, the FBI uses this tool to monitor social media posts by users, regardless of whether the users are American citizens or foreign actors, and they're searching for content indicative of criminal conduct. Now, I want to know what that is. Is it just a search engine? The analyst further testified that the FBI shared its findings, such as the specific username and the content of the post, with social media companies to censor the content accordingly. Okay, that's interesting because they do that all the time. Like they'll go on Craigslist and it's called Fed posting. They post, anybody have any idea where I can buy this thing for my gun that makes it fully automatic? And you're like, yeah, you want to buy one of these? They're feds all over the place, posting fake stuff all over the place. And they entrap people, right? Or they'll say prosecute people or they're catching criminals or whatever it is, but they'll arrest you and charge you with crimes. Happens all the time. Now that's different than censoring somebody. Is it criminal? They're censoring criminal conduct or are they investigating a crime? Are they speech police or actual police? Although the analyst testified that the FBI uses this tool to pursue, quote, criminal conduct, when questioned about the nature of the tool and the scope of the FBI's use, agency counsel repeatedly, so the FBI's lawyers objection, prevented the analyst from fully answering the committee's questions. Therefore, we write to obtain additional information in order to understand whether the FBI has or could use this software tool to censor or infringe upon lawful speech, particularly Americans' political speech. Yeah, see, great question. We don't really know. These concerns are reinforced in light of the committee's findings that the FBI, through FITF, has previously improperly interfered in other elections like they did in 2020 and their social media companies. Documents obtained by the committee and the subcommittee show how the FBI back in 2020 primed the big tech companies to expect a hack and leak operation by the Biden crime family and the Burisma story, despite internal concerns about whether the allegations were foreign sourced at all. They censored the story without even doing their due diligence. They just listened to the FBI. The committee and the select committee have also found instances of the FBI wrongfully flagging American accounts on social media companies for censorship. They included a verified U.S. State Department account, and accounts belonging to American journalists all got censored. And nobody should be censored. I don't care if you're an American journalist, a State Department official, or just some dude with 2 followers. You have free speech. Accordingly, please provide a briefing regarding the FIDIF's use of the software tool and any related tools as soon as possible. We want to know what they were using and how they were using it more specifically. And if you know what it is, you can gauge that. In addition, we're authorized to investigate this. If you have any questions about it, let us know. Sincerely, your friend, Jim Jordan, the Judiciary Committee, looking into it. Now, somebody who is going to be interfacing at length with the FBI is going to be the Director of National Intelligence. The next person up for this is Tulsi Gabbard. Whoa, big, powerful position, previously held by John Ratcliffe in the Trump administration. John Ratcliffe is going to the CIA, which we're going to talk about next. FBI director probably will not be named until after Trump takes power and demands the resignation of Christopher Wray, upon which he'll have someone else there to be acting and then nominated. But here is Tulsi, who is now confirmed to be the pick. The statement from the president: I am pleased to announce that former Congresswoman Lieutenant Colonel Tulsi Gabbard will serve as the Director of National Intelligence, aka the DNI. And if you look this up, I forget what the number is. We have so many of them, it doesn't matter, too many, but like 19 different intelligence agencies: NSA, CIA, FBI. Then you have all of the different agencies, like the Army has their intelligence, Navy intelligence, and so on. 19 of them, maybe more. Homeland Security, and so on. DNI is the hub that is supposed to integrate all the intelligence, and this came around after 9/11 because we didn't realize what was going on, apparently. So here's the background. He says, Tulsi, for over 2 decades, has fought for our country and the freedoms of all Americans. As a former candidate for the Democratic presidential nomination, can you believe that? She ran as a Democrat. It's wild. She has broad support in both parties. She's now a proud Republican. I know Tulsi will bring the fearless spirit that has defined her illustrious career to our intelligence community. Championing our constitutional rights and securing peace through strength, Tulsi will make us proud. She's a 4-term Congresswoman, 2020 presidential candidate, New York Times best-selling author, veteran, 3 deployments to war zones. She served in uniform for 2 decades, Lieutenant Colonel, Army Reserve, and she leads her nonprofit organization called We Must Protect. First served elected to Hawaii House of Representatives when she was 21, 9/11 enlisted in the Army, 2004 gave up a re-election campaign, deployed to Iraq, served in a medical unit, came home, worked with Senator Danny Akaka, who is the chairman of the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee. Then she volunteered to go back to the Middle East as a platoon leader. Having experienced firsthand the true cost of war, she ran for for Congress at 31, vowing to honor the lives of those who died. She prevailed in a difficult election, went on to serve Congress for 8 years, was on a bunch of different committees, then ran as a Democrat for president. Announced in 2022 she was leaving the Democratic Party, becoming an independent. She puts country before party and approaches her issues accordingly. She's got a great book, number 4 in the New York Times, and endorsed Trump on August 2024. Joined the Republican Party, and with Trump, they've been able to transform the party, and now she's going to be the Director of National Intelligence. So good eyes on the intelligence agencies, and we'll see what this looks like. But at this stage, we're excited to see how the team matures. We're giving everybody the benefit of the doubt here to rise to these positions, because this is a new era. We have a whole new team of people who are rising to the top, and we're excited to see what they can do.